Here we go now. Here we go now. Let's get up in this flow with Joe. And I am your host, Joe. I have a question for you. Why do we continue to let our past rob us of our future and the person that we want to become? I'll wait. Type it in the comments. I don't want to hear any crickets. I want to know. So type it in the comments if you have the answer. If you don't have the answer, let's dive up into this episode today. I love that air horn. I love it. So you might keep seeing me grab my ear because I am struggling with headphones, y'all. This is my second pair. I don't want to wear the big headphones and, get up in my fro because I love my fro. And I don't want it to be, drowned out with the headphones, right? So I tried the wireless headphones. They didn't quite work. And so now I'm trying the wired headphones, and I have such small ears that they don't want to stay in. But anyways, nonetheless, today I want to give a shout out to my very first Apple review on Apple Podcasts, and that is from Dr. Alyssa White. Her Instagram is Alyssa White Speaks. She is a friend, a colleague, a sister from another mother. She's one of my kindred spirits. We just vibe. We've known each other for a year, but we finally got to meet last month, actually like a week before I started this podcast. And it was just such an awesome pleasure to meet her. So again, grab that Instagram handle and go follow Dr. Alyssa. You will not be disappointed. She is my Caribbean sister and very, very intelligent and funny and awesome and inspiring. And if you leave me an Apple review, I will also give you a shout out on the show. Go and leave your girl an Apple review if you have the time. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps get the show ranked in the podcast. All right, now I'm for real. We're about to dive up in the show. So last week we discussed So last week we talked about self-awareness. And if you didn't catch that episode, go and check out episodes 1 and 2. I encourage you because they kind of all flow into episode 3. We dipped into self-awareness and we talked about a lot of us aren't self-aware, right? Out of 5,000 people, there's about 10 to 15% of us who actually practice self-awareness because it's a continuing daily practice, right? So I got to talking about a story with my daughter, and I'm not going to go back into the story because you can just go to episode 2 and it'll make sense. But once I became aware of that negative behavior, I had to ask myself why, but I didn't stay in the why. I immediately went into the what and I took action so I don't repeat that negative behavior. Also, in episode 1, I talked about a dark event that happened in my life. At one time in my early 20s, I would get blackout drunk, right? Actually, I was 19 and then going into my 20s. And I didn't know, I thought that was a thing to do. And so after I got blacked out drunk one night, something really bad happened. And then it just continued on because I wasn't addressing my issues. I wasn't taking accountability for my actions. And so I got blackout drunk again another night. Something else happened. Pretty much the same thing, just different circumstances. So that was when I had enough, right? And I told you all I went to therapy. So the analogy I want to use here is that one that I like to use all the time. If a wound is left untreated, what happens to it, right? Let's say you cut yourself on the arm, the wrist. It can be an accident, self-harm. It could be an accident, right? But if that wound is left untreated, that cut is left untreated, what happens? Type it in the comments, please. I will wait. So it gets infection, right? Infection gets in it. Bacteria gets inside the wound. Poison gets inside the wound. And the whole wound turns completely red, right? Did you know that it's just like our hearts? When our hearts is ripped out, broken, shattered, it gets infected too. And it affects our behaviors. In the right atrium, depression seeps in. In the left atrium, unworthiness seeps in. The right ventricle, anger comes in. If y'all can relate to that, type a 1 in the chat. Leave it in the comments, the reviews. Did I say the left atrium or the right atrium? Well, in the last ventricle, depression. Depression seeps in. So unworthiness, addiction, anger, depression, all of that takes over our heart. We become cold. And then guess what? It starts spewing out into our behavior. And we start becoming the person we never wanted to become in the first place. So when are you going to take accountability? When are you going to stop the hurt, stop the anger, stop the depression, stop the unworthiness, because you are worthy and you can make it through it? That unhealed wound, the open cut, the wounded heart, it takes time. It takes tender, loving care to heal, right? And we get into this self-loathing, right? Whoa, me, we get into this victimhood. Oh, I can't believe this happened to me. Why did this happen to me? But God tells us in the book of life. Now, I'm not going to quote the scripture because, for one thing, I'm not great at scripture memorization, but I remember the stories and I remember the principles that he tells us, okay? But it says, for it has been granted to you on behalf of Christ, not to only believe in him, but to also suffer for him. And that means that sometimes that pain has a purpose, but it takes you to be self-aware, to realize and ask yourself, God, what lesson am I supposed to learn from this? What actions do I take to recover from this, to gain the wisdom that I need to be the person I want to become, to have a better future for myself? What I did was, let me tell you, y'all know that saying, no man is an island? I had to realize that no man is an island. And I got help. And it's okay to get help. I got my help through a friend, and a friend pointed me to therapy. And actually, that friend took care of my therapy for a whole entire year, for twice a week. So I can heal all of this and it can stop spewing out into me getting blackout drunk, right? And you have that as well. And I really want you to know and to understand, because sometimes when we ask for help or seek help, we feel like it's a weakness. But you want to get help to remain strong. And that's in anything. And I want you to remember that as you listen to this episode, and that can be help with anything whatsoever, not just what we're talking about today, helping your business, help holding yourself accountable to a task that you know you need to get done, but you keep procrastinating on it. Get a friend, say, hey, I need you to help me with this. Can you do that? What's the worst they're going to say? No. We've all been told no before, especially when we were children, 50 million times. And matter of fact, we tell our children 50 million times no, right? So that's the worst that could happen. And, you know, you can say you tried. But no man is an island. So seek the help. But ask yourself, when you're going through these negative behaviors, be aware that that's not you. Ask yourself, when is enough enough? I'm tired of being sick and tired. You know, you gotta get ready to take control. And I say you, but we have to take control of our lives. Don't let life control us. Then we'll get up to 60, 70, 80 years old and be mad that we haven't lived the life that we deserve to live, or the life that we wanted to live and dreamed about when we were children. You control that. Don't get to the grave, pass away, as Dr. Miles Monroe would say, and take your dreams with you. Anytime I speak to a senior and I ask them, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? And I don't even want to say senior, right? Because my great auntie, before she passed away, shout out to my auntie Mikey, rest in peace, baby. She said, she told my daughter was 6 at the time, because I think my daughter called her old. She's had some powder or something. And she said, is this old people's powder? Woo! And my Aunt Mikey said, oh, baby, I am not old. I am seasoned. Okay? Okay. So, anyways, anytime I see a seasoned person, I ask them that question that I spoke of before. What would you tell your 20-year-old self? What would you tell your 30-year-old self? And they all would say, don't work too hard. Enjoy moments in your life. Do what you want to do. Because life is short. Quit worrying so much about what other people think. Life is short. So if you see yourself experiencing these negative behaviors, think about it. What trauma is buried deep inside of me that I keep trying to forget about, but something will happen that will trigger this behavior? And I do not like when I get triggered into this behavior, because it's not only harmful for myself, But most importantly, it's harmful to the people that are closest to me, that I love. What can I do about it? Ask yourself that. What's the solution that you can find to acknowledge that trauma? And we all have different traumas, different things that we've dealt with, whether it be in childhood, teenage years, early adulthood, midlife. But at some point, we have to address it because it will eventually come out. So be honest with yourself. And if you want to know more about traumas, the different types of traumas, I love to follow Dr. Gaber. You can just type in Dr. Gaber in Google and his website will pull up. But one specific thing I want to tell you about with Dr. Gaber is that you can go to www.onecommune.com. He has a 4-series course where he reveals in depth the truth about trauma and what it takes to heal. And he's also the author of an incredible book that I absolutely love. And he just released it, I believe, at the end of last year. But it's The Myth of Normal. And you can find that description, that link in my description below. And also, I'll post the link to his free 4-series course. And no, this is not an advertisement. This is just resources to help you, the listener, because I am incredibly grateful for you. And I want us to improve together, baby. Okay. So, if you're listening to me today, I want you to know that you can take back your power. You have greatness in you to take back your power, to live the life that you want to live. Be the person that you want to be, to take care of your families and the ones you care about. Like I said before in episode 1, your only limitation is the one you set up within yourself. It's you versus you, baby, all day long. So acknowledge what has your heart poisoned when you become aware of these negative behaviors. And don't sit in the why too long when you ask yourself. Don't guilt trip yourself, because I did that and it doesn't help. I said, it's my fault I got this drunk. It's my fault this happened to me. It's not your fault. So, most importantly, ask yourself, what can I do about this to become the person that I want to become, to have the future that I want to have, to enjoy the simple things in life, to live in the moments. So when I'm 80 years old, I don't look back at my life and said, geez, all I did was work. Geez, I was so unhappy. Good Lord, I was so depressed. God, I was angry over the stupidest things that can easily be fixed. And I want you to love yourself. Doing these steps from episodes 1, 2, and 3, you're going to show yourself love by becoming self-aware. It's a power. Maya Angelou said, love liberates. And I love that. If you go and look up one of her speeches, she did a whole speech on it. It's the most beautiful. She has such a magnificent way with words. It's the most beautiful speech ever. Ever. But love liberates. Love yourself. Liberate yourself to have that freedom within your soul. Because, baby, when you're free, you become unstoppable. Unstoppable! Y'all like that? So, the journey that we're on together, guys, everyone, it is not going to be easy. We can all say this stuff. And it's always easier said than done. But you have to do it. You have to do it. Or you will definitely be unhappy with yourself if you were to die tomorrow. Looking back on your life, say, damn, I didn't get to do anything that I wanted to get done. I was too busy being angry, depressed, addicted, whether that be drugs, alcohol, gambling, because I didn't take the time to work on self. I didn't take the time to master myself. Remember, you're worth it. You're worth it, baby. If didn't anybody tell you today, I'm telling you right now, here on the Flow with Joe podcast, that you are worth it. And I want you to believe it from when I'm saying it, to use it until you believe in yourself. Okay? Take my belief in you and feed off of it until you have that same belief in you that you are worth this journey. Right? So I want you to go to the description, click the links in my bio to Dr. Gaber. If you want to know more about trauma, and listen, I'm not a therapist. I'm just a woman that wants to help other people heal themselves, become self-aware of themselves, but to just live the life that you want to live for yourself. Be the person that you want to become. I'm still on that journey. I still am working on being the woman that I want to become. So let's do it together. Let's get this ick together, baby. And also, please leave a review. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe if this content jazzed with you today. I will see you all back here next Monday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Toodles.